Hey everybody, R&D Lee here, bringing you a special edition of Tech Talk showing you how to do balancing on your new Rockstar Pro II wheels using the MBS balance weights. Okay, going to make this as short and sweet as possible, but basically to give you a bit of background on why you need balancing. Well, when a wheel spins, okay, if nothing else, even if the tire is 100% perfect, and usually the rim is 100% perfect, but the tire has kind of like, little spots that might be thicker than others. But even if a tire is totally perfect, you have this valve stem sitting here, which weighs something. And that weight gives an eccentric load. So when the thing, it's like a washing machine that's got all the clothes kind of in one corner and it's going ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. Well, this is the same thing. This kind of gets an eccentric load. So basically something that's kind of like, not spinning totally perfect. Okay. So basically, what you want to do is use balancing weights to counteract that. Okay. Now, most of that usually comes from the valve stem, but sometimes there's little kind of inconsistencies in tires that might also contribute to that eccentric load. So the first thing that you want to do when you do balance is just give it a bit of a spin and find out where the heavy spot is. Now, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be sitting around that valve stem. The heavy spot, just so you know, is the spot that actually comes down and sits down at the bottom. All right, so give it a few spins, test a couple out. And sometimes if your bearings have a little bit of resistance, something might kind of like stick there, so do it a couple times. Right now, this is showing on my Rockstar that O is my heavy spot, right? But I know this valve stem on another one, it was kind of down there, so give it a couple goes just to kind of see, when it does come back. So now I'm around the eye. This one kind of coming down. Like I said, the bearings have a little bit of resistance, so you do need to play around with it a little bit. So if I'm saying that's my heavy spot and it kind of comes down, yeah, so it's somewhere around that valve stem is where my heavy spot is. Yeah. So given that, the place that I want to apply the weights is to this upper side to kind of balance those guys out. So to show you how you do that, the special thing about the new Rockstar Pro IIs is that they actually have a nice flat surface where you can apply these weights to. So I've just taken, I've cut, these are all segmented. So I went ahead and pre-cut some of these guys. And I'm going to apply them to the flat surface that's opposite that valve stem. So I'm just going to pop one on there on this side. And that flat surface is exactly the size of that balance weight. So you're going to get a total, nice, perfect adhesion there. There's no kind of curvature to mess with that adhesion. And I'm going to try, typically it's going to take at least 2 to balance out that valve stem. So I'm going to put my second one on there just because I know that is actually, it's at least going to take that. And then you do a few more spins just to see if you can get it to where it's, so now this is looking a little bit, what you want to do is get it to where it has where you think a heavy spot is and see if it ever kind of starts dropping down, okay? If you can get it to different spots without it rotating at all, then you've actually balanced out your wheel perfectly. So this used to be the heavy spot and it was kind of like rotating down to that. But now, when you sit it on the side there, it's not rotating. So just give it a few little goes. Just see if anything's, starting to kind of like go and then kind of pop back down. You're looking for the ones where they just kind of like start to rotate back down. Now this isn't typical because usually you don't get it right on the first one, okay? Usually, but in fact I kind of did on that one. It looks like I've kind of gotten rid of all my spots. That all looks pretty good, actually. Oh, there was a little bit, maybe. Yeah, I think actually that's pretty good. So what would happen is if you do get a spot, another one where maybe this is going to be your heavy spot now, where this one kind of drifts to the bottom, then you would want to put a weight, always put the weight opposite your heavy spot, okay? And it's as simple as that. Basically, you just pop the weight always opposite where the heavy spot is, and the heavy spot is the one that just kind of like drifts down to the bottom. On that one, that may not have been the best example because we kind of got it first go, but hopefully you're as lucky as me when you do your balancing. Now on some of the bigger, this is an example of the 9-inch tire, which more tire, more rubber, a lot more going on. And on this one, I actually had to do 6 balance weights. And as you can see, they weren't all opposite the valve stem. All right, they were actually off a little bit. So that what that says is that had a little bit of a heaviness or maybe like a thick spot in the tire somewhere over here. So it depends on your exact setup, your tubes, your tires, and all that type of stuff as to where it's going to go. But that's an example of how you do it, and hopefully you have as good a luck as I did. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them down below and we'll get back to you. Apart from that, like, subscribe, and do the things that you guys do. See you next time.